Hey, this is Awais with EminiPlayer.net, and this is a recap for Monday, August 20th. Our plan for the day, we had 1413 to 1415 as the bull bear zone, with 0875 to 1075 as support below it. And then we were using Friday's high as resistance. So overall, we basically pulled back, retested Thursday's breakout level, 09.5 to the tick, got responsive buyers active over there, and then we rotated back up. Built acceptance at 1412, another narrow range day, but basically this was a successful test of Thursday's breakout. Now let's jump into some trade setups. So heading into the session, we get negative internals right off the open, and 1415 was the value area high from Friday, and the top of the bull bear zone. So we needed to see initiative internals on the upside in order for price to break and hold above this level, which is why these rotations back up to the opening range high and 1415 are nice short setups with target down at 1075. So we get sellers active over here, internals are weak, tick is barely getting above zero, and we get this price swing down to 1075, which is a nice scale out spot. We get a rotation back up, failure at the 12.5 opening range low, and then another rotation down into support. Now 9.5 is the breakout level from Thursday, so we're looking for responsive buyers to be active at this support zone, and we can see 9.5 held to the tick, and then basically we just rotated back up and got this narrow range session for the rest of the day. So those are the main trades: short over here, long over here. But one of the points I wanted to get into is the importance of understanding the context. And as discretionary traders, we're constantly looking at a host of different variables and different factors that play into a trade setup or a trading plan. But the key is to know which factor gets more weight, right? And that changes over time. Depending on kind of the way the market is moving. Are we trending? Are we not? Are we balancing? What are we doing? Level of volatility, risk on versus risk off, and just a lot of stuff that you take into account. And then you figure out, well, what do I give more importance to? And considering that's end of summer, and we're seeing very light volume and low volatility, one of the things that you should be checking out is what kind of ranges are we getting on the day? And what kind of volatility are we getting? I mean, if you look at the VIX, I think broke down to the 13s on Friday, which is an extremely low level, and even today we held below 15. So even though we gapped up on the VIX, this isn't really a big bearish signal to me because we're still below 15. I mean, we're at very depressed levels, so I'm not going to give a lot of importance to the actual value of the VIX. I'm going to be looking more at kind of the trend and how the VIX is behaving, but I'm not going to give a lot of credence to whether VIX is at 14 versus 15 because they're both very depressed levels. And then if we look at the internals, we can see that we're looking very bearish over here, but when we look at the overall context, price is pulling back in an uptrend where we've set new highs on the year, and it's retesting that breakout from Thursday. So based on that information and the fact that we're in a narrow range, low volatility environment, and we've already put in about 5.5, 6 points of range when we're going into that support zone, I'm expecting a bounce out of that support zone. And that's something that everyone should be tracking, is the ranges, the value areas, and once we launch the live chat room, we're going to have educational webinars every couple of weeks. And one of the topics that we're going to discuss are some key metrics to track, just to keep track of the market. And I'll be sharing, I keep track of them in Excel. It's very simple. Even though I have a background in database architecture, and I even designed a data warehouse just to analyze market information, I found that for majority of my trading ideas and when I'm putting together the plan, I can get all the information from Excel. So I manually enter it, which forces me to reassess that information on a daily basis when I'm putting it in manually. Now, I could also write some little piece of software that pulls it from an API, but I prefer to do it manually. because it just forces me to just look at that information and assess it every day when I'm entering it into Excel. So those are the trade setups. Context just shows you that there's no, as discretionary traders, I'm not looking for a mechanical trade setup where if the internals are less than negative 200, then I'm always shorting, or if they're less than negative 300, I'm always shorting. It's really about taking the entire context into account, and that's one of the main things that we're going to be covering in the room, is the overall market context, because once you have that, that's the starting point. Then you can build trade ideas on top of that. But if you don't know the context, then the support and resistance zones are still going to give you good trade setups, but you're not going to understand why price is bouncing at a certain area, or you may take more risk than you need to take on some on certain trades, and some of the zones are best that you just pass on them. Majority of them we get rotation, but depending on the context, you might want to take a pass on it. So those are the details that we're going to be getting into. Let's just take a quick look at the 5-minute chart. So again, this ended up being low of day, rotate back up, broken support equals resistance. I mean, this was bull bear resistance anyway. Get a rotation down, we're holding above the overnight low, and then we just continue back up. And again, bigger picture, we're still within that uptrend. So buyers have edge at support. That is pretty much the recap of the day. I'll be posting more information about the trading room later on in the week. We're thinking of launching it just to the members. We're not going to open it publicly, or we're not going to let people sign up for it just yet. But we're going to be offering it to members next week, and we'll gather your feedback, learn really what you find useful, and then we'll structure it more and launch it. So that's that. If you guys have any questions, any trade ideas that you took that either worked out, didn't work out, post them in the comments, and we'll take them there. All right, talk to you tomorrow.